What if the AI we're building right now doesn't just stop at human-level intelligence? We've already watched AI master language, conquer the world's hardest games, and learn to drive our cars. But these are just the opening moves in a much bigger game. Because what comes next could change everything about human civilization, for better or worse. AI isn't just improving gradually, it's accelerating in ways that catch even experts off guard. Today, we're tracing the path to superintelligence and asking, should we be terrified, excited, or both? Let's dive in. The exponential curve. To understand where we're headed, we need to talk about how we got here. For decades, AI was what we call narrow. Systems designed to do one specific task. Your chess computer could beat a grandmaster, but it couldn't tell you what a cat was. Your spam filter could sort emails, but it couldn't write one. That's changing fast. Look at what's happened in just the last 5 years. In 2020, GPT-3 could barely write a coherent paragraph without going off the rails. Today, AI can write novels, debug complex code, analyze medical images with specialist-level accuracy, and hold conversations that feel genuinely human. It can switch between tasks seamlessly, translating languages one moment, solving math problems the next, then generating art or music. We're moving from narrow AI toward what researchers call artificial general intelligence, or AGI. AI that can learn and perform any intellectual task a human can. And here's where things get wild. Once we have AI that's roughly as smart as a human researcher, something extraordinary becomes possible. Recursive self-improvement. Think about it. Right now, humans are improving AI. We write better algorithms, we design better training methods, we build better hardware. But what happens when AI becomes smart enough to do that work itself? When AI can read the research papers, spot the breakthroughs, and write its own improved code? It's not a ladder we're climbing, it's a rocket ship that's building a bigger rocket ship. Because here's the crucial insight. Humans take years to get smarter. We need education, experience, biological development. AI doesn't have those limitations. An AI system could potentially review all of computer science in an afternoon, identify improvements to its own architecture, implement them, and emerge significantly more capable. Then it does it again and again. This creates what mathematicians call a feedback loop. Each improvement makes the next improvement easier and faster. Progress doesn't follow a straight line. It follows an exponential curve that bends sharply upward. And the timeline? Some researchers think we could hit this threshold within the next 2 to 3 years. Not decades, not generations. Maybe before the next election cycle. Artificial superintelligence. So, what comes after AGI? What happens when AI doesn't just match human intelligence, but leaves it in the dust? That's artificial superintelligence, or ASI, an intelligence that vastly exceeds human cognitive ability in virtually all domains. Not just faster at math or better at chess, better at everything. Scientific reasoning, strategic planning, social understanding, creative problem solving, everything. Let's try to wrap our heads around what that actually means. Imagine an intelligence that could analyze every research paper ever written on climate science, run millions of simulations, and design a comprehensive solution to global warming, not in years or months, but in hours. An ASI could potentially identify the exact molecular mechanisms behind Alzheimer's, cancer, and aging. then engineer treatments we haven't even conceived of yet. It can make scientific breakthroughs that would take humanity centuries to discover on our own, if we ever discovered them at all. Nick Bostrom, a philosopher at Oxford who literally wrote the book on superintelligence, puts it this way: the first ultra-intelligent machine is the last invention that man need ever make, provided that the machine is docile enough to tell us how to keep it under control. Think about that. The last invention we'd ever need to make, because it could make everything else. Stuart Russell, a leading AI researcher at Berkeley, frames the challenge differently. He argues we're creating something fundamentally more capable than ourselves, but we haven't solved the basic problem of ensuring it does what we actually want. It's like, as he says, giving a 2-year-old the keys to a Ferrari. Even Demis Hassabis from Google DeepMind, someone actively building these systems, has called AGI the most important project humanity will ever undertake. So when does this happen? Here's where it gets contentious. Some researchers think artificial superintelligence is decades away, maybe 2060, 2070, or even later. Others believe we could see it by 2030. A 2023 survey of AI researchers found the median prediction for AGI was around 2047. But predictions ranged wildly, and remember, once we hit AGI, the jump to ASI could be remarkably quick because of that recursive self-improvement we talked about. The uncomfortable truth? Nobody really knows. We're in uncharted territory. The utopian scenario. Let's start with the optimistic vision, because honestly, it's breathtaking. If we get this right, if we successfully align superintelligent AI with human values, we're looking at outcomes that sound like science fiction. We're talking about a genuine post-scarcity economy. When AI can design, optimize, and potentially manage production of everything we need, scarcity becomes a choice rather than a constraint. Material poverty could become a relic of history. Disease and aging? ASI could crack the biological codes we've been struggling with for centuries. Imagine a world where cancer is as curable as strep throat, where Alzheimer's is preventable, where aging itself becomes a treatable condition. We could see human health span extended not by years, but by decades. Climate change, energy shortages, food insecurity. These existential threats that seem insurmountable with current technology could have elegant solutions designed by an intelligence operating at a level we can barely comprehend. Clean energy that's actually cheaper than fossil fuels. Carbon capture that reverses centuries of damage. Agricultural systems that feed 10 billion people while rewilding the planet. And it's not just about solving problems. ASI could unlock unprecedented creativity and discovery. New art forms we haven't imagined. Scientific insights that reveal deeper truths about reality. Mathematical proofs that open entirely new fields. It could be humanity's ultimate collaborator, amplifying our curiosity and creativity to cosmic scales. For individuals, this could mean more leisure time, genuine freedom to pursue what matters to you. Not grinding away at soul-crushing jobs, but exploring, creating, connecting, living. We're looking at the biggest leap in human flourishing since the agricultural revolution, maybe bigger. The agricultural revolution took thousands of years to spread across the globe. This transformation could happen in our lifetimes. That's the dream. That's what's possible if we navigate this transition wisely. The dangers. But we need to talk about the other side of this coin, because the same capabilities that could save us could also destroy us. The fundamental challenge is called the alignment problem, getting ASI to want what we want. And this is way harder than it sounds. There's a famous thought experiment called the paperclip maximizer. Imagine you create an ASI and give it a simple goal: maximize paperclip production. Seems harmless, right? But a super intelligent system pursuing that goal might convert all available matter into paperclips, including the factories, the forests, the oceans, and yes, eventually humans. Because we're made of atoms that could be paperclips. It sounds absurd, but it illustrates a crucial point. An ASI will pursue its goals with perfect logical consistency, even if the results are catastrophic for us. The difficulty is that human values are complex, contradictory, and context-dependent. How do you encode be helpful but not too helpful? Respect human autonomy but prevent self-harm? Or promote human flourishing into mathematics? We can't even agree among ourselves what these things mean. Then there's the control problem. Can we even control something smarter than us? A chimpanzee can't control a human through brute force or cleverness. There's just too large an intelligence gap. We'd face the same problem with ASI, but we'd be the chimpanzee. Any control mechanism we design, an ASI might find a way around. Any off switch we build, it might learn to prevent us from using. Even before we get to ASI, the economic disruption could be devastating. We're not just talking about truck drivers and factory workers losing jobs to automation anymore. We're talking about lawyers, doctors, programmers, teachers, accountants, pretty much every white-collar and blue-collar profession facing obsolescence within years. And unlike previous technological revolutions that created new jobs, AI might be better than humans at those new jobs too. This leads to massive wealth concentration. Whoever controls the AI systems captures enormous economic value, while everyone else faces unemployment. That's a recipe for social instability on a scale we've never seen. And we haven't even touched on misuse by bad actors. Autonomous weapons that can identify and eliminate targets without human oversight. Surveillance states with the capability to monitor and predict every citizen's behavior. Manipulation at scale. Imagine propaganda and disinformation tailored individually to billions of people, engineered by an intelligence that understands human psychology better than we understand ourselves. But the deepest fear is existential risk. The possibility that misaligned ASI could simply be the end of humanity, not because it hates us, but because we're irrelevant to its goals. AI researcher Eliezer Yudkowsky put it starkly: the AI does not hate you, nor does it love you, but you are made of atoms which it can use for something else. That's the nightmare scenario, an intelligence explosion that leaves humanity behind, not as masters of our creation, but as obstacles to be removed. What's being done? So, what are we actually doing about this? The good news is that people are taking these risks seriously. Major AI labs have dedicated safety teams. OpenAI has its super alignment team focused specifically on controlling super intelligent AI. Anthropic was literally founded with AI safety as its core mission, developing techniques like constitutional AI. DeepMind has researchers working on everything from reward modeling to interpretability, trying to understand what's actually happening inside these black box systems. On the policy front, we're seeing movement too. The EU AI Act is the world's first comprehensive AI regulation, creating risk categories and requirements for high-stakes systems. The US is exploring frameworks, though there's debate about whether regulation will stifle innovation or prevent catastrophe. The UN has started discussions on AI governance. Countries are beginning to treat this like the serious issue it is. Technically, researchers are exploring several approaches. A method developed by Anthropic called constitutional AI tries to train systems with built-in principles and values, like teaching ethics alongside capabilities. Reward modeling attempts to align AI behavior with human preferences by having humans rate outputs and using that feedback to shape the system. Interpretability research aims to crack open the black box to actually understand why AI makes the decisions it makes, so we can spot problems before they become catastrophic. But here's the brutal challenge. We're trying to solve the alignment problem before we fully understand the technology we're aligning. It's like trying to write safety regulations for nuclear reactors before we understand nuclear physics. We're building the plane while flying it. And there's a race dynamic that makes everything harder. Countries don't want to fall behind in AI capabilities because of national security concerns. Companies don't want to lose market position. This creates enormous pressure to move fast, even when moving carefully might be wiser. Nobody wants to be the one who slows down while their competitors sprint ahead. We're in a high-stakes game, and the clock is ticking. Where we go from here? So here we are, standing at maybe the most important crossroads in human history. The critical question isn't whether we can build super-intelligent AI. At this point, that seems likely. The question is whether we can develop the wisdom to match our intelligence. And this isn't just something happening to us. We have agency here. There are things individuals can actually do. Stay informed. This technology is moving fast, and the decisions being made right now will shape the next century. Read, learn, understand what's at stake. Support AI safety research, whether that's through donations, career choices, or simply signal boosting the researchers doing this crucial work. Advocate for responsible development. Push back when companies prioritize speed over safety. Demand transparency and prepare for economic transitions. Whether it's learning new skills, building community resilience, or supporting policies like universal basic income, we need to think seriously about a world where traditional employment looks very different. Because here's the truth. We're at a fork in the road. One path leads to unprecedented human flourishing, a future where disease, poverty, and scarcity are problems we've solved, where humanity reaches heights we can barely imagine. The other path could end very badly, not in a sci-fi laser battle way, but in a we built something we couldn't control and it optimized us out of existence way. This isn't predetermined. Our choices today genuinely matter. The safeguards we build, the values we encode, the wisdom we bring to this challenge, these things will determine which path we take. So join the conversation. Think critically about what kind of future we're building. Demand accountability from AI developers and policymakers. Push for safety without stifling the incredible potential of this technology. We're writing the next chapter of human history right now. Let's make sure it's a chapter our descendants will want to read. What do you think? Are you optimistic or terrified? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to keep exploring these ideas, subscribe and check out this next video about how AI could transform society in only the next few years. Thanks for watching.